Right now, the meaning of Christmas according to the course. The meaning of Christmas. So we know the traditional Christmas. A man that was born as God was born into a manger. 3 wise men came, the star, Bethlehem. Okay, so historically, it's pretty well agreed, unanimous. None of that factually, statistically, actually happened that way. Those were stories made up many centuries after those details. That's not actually how it happened.
And the Romans weren't trying to kill him.
And no, there was not a mass murder of babies in Bethlehem to try to destroy the Messiah. That actually there's no evidence at all. There's no proof. There's a lot of symbols and all these examples that were pulled from previous stories throughout history. Moses, that was already a mass story, kill all the babies. They just took that story and reapplied it to Jesus again, kill all the babies. Everything was recycled. Paganism, the Christmas trees, it's all recycled. So the meaning of Christmas is not that. In the Course, it doesn't debate it, it doesn't spend its time discussing that. It simply, for now, goes along with these things, but like I said earlier, he repurposes everything, Jesus in the Course, repurposes it all to help. Okay, fine, if you say I was born here to help, yes, along with you. He's always including us in everything that happened. Again, not to prop him up above us. This is written by Robert Perry. His synthesis, this is one of my teachers. He's a scholar, expert of the Course. And this is his basic synthesis of Christmas, meaning of Christmas. And these are pulled from direct lines. There's allusions, references to Christmas through here. Basically, all the threads pulled out into one summary. Here it is. Jesus was not born into this world because of our sinfulness, and so that we can laud him as our special divine being. Rather, he is one of us. He's sitting right here. Who simply made the decision we all must make. That is what made his life holy. His decision is a light within our minds that calls us to make the same decision for holiness instead of sinfulness. And so because of his decision, his life, not his birth, body birth, but his life was the birth of holiness into this world. The first person in history who went all the way, completed his part in the plan of awakening for earth, the plan of atonement. He followed it all the way, and now for that reason, he's in charge of the awakening plan. He's everywhere. And he did it. Our brother.
Our brother, as Sasha Stone also says, he's not like what we see on those pictures, biblical or whatever this, yeah? He looks like me, like you, like everybody.
Yes.
Just normal, regular.
Yeah,
guy.
if I could and I had time, I would paste every one of our photos on this candle. Because we are in this. I'm going to keep bringing it back. And so that is the light. This is literally a light. We can use that as the symbol. Okay, so how do we celebrate his birth? The Christmas season is not inherently holy. It is just an illusion. We're living in an illusion realm. One season is not more sacred than another season. In the quote from the text, neither time nor season means anything in eternity. In our heaven 5D realm, there's no time, there's only eternity. Seasons there's not one more special than another. But we can make it holy for our purposes right now. Quote, it is in your power to make this season holy, for it is in your power to make the time of Christ be now. Now, always. We do so by allowing the original Christmas event to be repeated in us. Repeated in us right now. We choose to make the same decision that Jesus did. We allow Christ to be born in us. For the world is still in the darkness it was back then. That's crazy. I had a chat yesterday. The same dark entities taken over and trying to kill Jesus are the same dark world, same darkness that's still now. We're still on that roller coaster we're trying to wake up out of. And so the world needs the birth of holiness now, just as much as it did then. We got a mighty job. So, rather than seeing the Christ child as a unique divine infant, baby, outside of us, this is what I always see. They make him outside and then worship him outside, and they miss the point. We should see him as being born inside of us, born in us to awaken us to our own divinity. And it's not some...
When he's born inside of us, what does that mean? Like, is it a specific time, or like it keeps on happening, or?
Wow.
You're right. It is it's happening all the time. It's because
like
it's only in the present.
It's keep on birthing inside of us.
Yes. Yes.
We came down on earth with this.
Yeah, it's a constant state of being. It's the new mode of being, which is the present, very present. When you're present, you're connected to that Christ. You're aware of it. So rather than seeing his birth as something that happened a long time ago, we need to realize that the birth of Christ is now, without a past or future. So we're exiting the timeline, the 3D timeline linearity. It's always now. The birthing is always now. The freshness of the moment is always fresh. Rather than seeing the Christmas star shining in the skies of ancient Palestine, announcing the birth of Jesus, we should see it, as in the Course it says, shining in the heaven within, a sign of the impending birth of the Christ within us. So we're using the terms heaven, Christ, but we already experience it. When you have that good, peaceful, light meditation, that's what it's talking about. We just need to have that all the time. That's the aim, living in that state, so free all the time.
This is really resonant, calming me, the voice and everything, the
Yes.
information. I'm like,
Good.
I'm going to be able to, I'm going to walk it, don't trust me. Thank you for, I'm here.
Rather than welcoming Jesus into a lowly manger a long time ago, we should welcome him into, and when it says him, it's capitalized. You can't see that. These references to him or Christ or our higher self is always capitalized, which means it's not a body. It's not our little personality. It's the eternal us. So we should welcome him, the eternal Jesus, into his true home, the temple of holiness deep in our minds and hearts. So get him out of the manger. We were just at a Christmas show, at a musical presentation, and it's always like, there's a little baby up there, he's on a stage, and like, get excited because it's his birthday. But this is the deception. It's redirecting away from your own divinity, radiating right here. It's like everybody look at a body a long time ago. You're losing yourself. Because he's always redirecting, you too, you. Don't focus just on my birthday. I don't want just my birthday. It's our Christ light awakening. All right, rather than playing modern day wise men and offering the Christ child lavish gifts of love and praise, we should give him our ego's poison, our illusions, our resentments, our pettiness. Give away all of our problems to Jesus or Holy Spirit or God, the same thing, so that our minds are clear of impediments to his birth in us. The birth, I feel like a heart radiation. It's just like, It's not a birth, it's a birth. It's a redefining this term that we keep using. He's in us. Rather than demanding that our brothers give us generous gifts in order to prove their love, we should release them from all our demands and offer them the freedom of true love. No conditions. Give them the freedom. In short, we need to prepare a holy place for the birth of Christ in us. He is an alien to this world. So the 5D or higher, is an alien to the 3D, to the sights of violence and the sounds of war. He is an alien to the battleground of our ego's thoughts. We need to prepare a place in us that mirrors the holiness of where he comes from, and therefore provides him with a nurturing environment. Yeah, this is a big theme too. So much of the text is getting us to prepare a clean, beautiful place, like a table setting and a beautiful garden and clean and tidy, to prepare us to host God, host royalty. Because God doesn't fit into a chaotic environment. So clearing the mind, basically, in other words, if our mind is chaotic, we can't welcome God. There's no Jesus. There's no room for Jesus and the Christ energy to fit in a chaotic, disturbed mind. Our homework is to clear the mind, calm the mind, still the mind. So all of these meditations get calm and still. That is us preparing the carpet, preparing the environment to have that experience of the Christ or God. Otherwise, they're incompatible. A stressed, static mind cannot welcome the Christ consciousness in us, the heart opening in us. So we prepare it fully by entering the present moment. Here it is, where there's no past and future, no babbling, no mental chatter. It's just preparing the present moment, calm, pristine, and pure, where Christ is forever being born. That's when it's born, forever being born, as long as we're calm, welcoming. We prepare it by entering a holy instant. An instant. That's the one where everything finally slows and it stops completely. And when the mind is so completely still, we mirror heaven, full access to the heaven, higher self. We may enter this instant in the privacy of our own mind, or we may enter it by joining with a brother, sister, through mutual forgiveness. So that's the two ways of enlightenment or awakening in the Course. Solo, stillness of the mind, great awakening, or mainly through relations, all of our forgivenesses and loving our neighbors and brothers. So either way, this is how we make the season holy. This is how we repeat what happened with the original Christmas. We don't prepare a place for him by making painful sacrifices in order to make ourselves worthy. Rather, we need to realize that we are already worthy. And then a quote directly from the Course, "Learn that you must be worthy of the Prince of Peace, born in you, in honor of him whose host you are. Before the greatness that lives in you, your poor appreciation of yourself and all the little offerings you give slip into nothingness." So all the pettiness slips into nothingness as we host the coming of the light inside of us. If we prepare this holy home, the birth will happen. And so like in the nativity scene, the angels came, the wise men came. The angels will come and surround us here now and watch us while heaven's Son is born. For they are not mythical creatures from the Bible, the angels. They are real messengers from God who will attend the birth of the Christ in us, just as they attended the birth of Jesus so long ago.
So interesting as we're speaking, like I'm having like this feeling of like inside my body, like this cool like golden light just like spreading slowly, right? Right as we do, like my arm, my body. It feels like sometimes after qigong, like that feeling. But it's happening right now, like in my head and
Christ
my neck.
energy.
Yes,
It's
yes.
so good.
You're in the birthing experience. Allow it. Thank you, thank you. The angels are around us. That's what I'm reading.
Yeah, and it started with like all our conversations.
Yeah. So that's what we're saturating in, marinating in that. The energy. Energy speaks first. I'll pause for 1 minute because this is relevant for my share that I didn't mention. But yesterday there was an interesting experience. We were at a post-freedom rally cafe, coffee, social, at a nice cafe. And noise everywhere, but I was already in my Zen mode. I purchased a tea, and the tea comes on a tea kettle, pot, whatever, with a nice cup, with a nice plate on a silver platter. And I brought it all, and for me, it felt like a ceremony of tea, like a Japanese Zen style. And so I played the role. I had to be peace first. And I set it all up, I made my tea, and it just went on and on for hours. But out of it, at some point, I was describing what I was doing, because I was just chatting with people by me. And then a couple of minutes later, another person, she's like, oh. She's like, I don't know what you're saying, I can't hear the words, but I feel so calm right now. I feel so safe.
That's resonating too. That's amazing. That's like.
So I mean, I get feedback from the world. Whatever I'm doing, however I'm being, in the moment, I'm always trying to channel welcoming the Christ. And in this moment, especially I prepared the home. That's what I just read. I made it a still home, welcoming by a still, non-chatty mind. When you're pouring tea, you have to be still. That's what I was doing. And that creates the mirror reflection for the light to come right through. And it comes through our energy, just frequency first. So when Elaine reacted, she didn't react to the words and the content of what I was saying. She said, I don't know what you're saying, but it feels so good. It's the energy that you're feeling, that energy, and our heart energy. When we're feeling in that peace state, it's a real radiation that goes outwards. Peace starts from within us, then it flows outwards. That's how we affect the world. That's how we change the world. Not by arm wrestling people into submission, by trying to argue with them and convincing others of whatever we're debating about. It doesn't work. I used 0 words for Elaine, and it was just the energy, the Christ consciousness that helps others. But yeah, everything is in order. I cleared the mind. I made the place for him to come in and move through me. Through my voice, my lungs, my vocal cord, and it worked. Clearly the reflection was effective. I got positive reflection that there's something coming through, and it's bigger than I'm even aware. I'm not even aware. Okay, so we were at the angels. Not mythical creatures in the Bible, but they are with us all the time. They're holding your back during your sleep, and then you woke up. That's what the angels are. We call them angels, but they're all the light beings. Always with us, guiding us. Okay, and Jesus, in a loving reversal of roles, will then celebrate our birth. That's the highlight. He's coming now, celebrate our birth. We're like celebrating Jesus, Christmas, Nativity. He's like, I'm here to celebrate you, your birth. This birth is, as the Course says, your awakening into grandeur, magnificence, in which the capital self that you truly are is born within you. This birth will be the beginning of a new future, new timeline, new earth, new reality, higher dimension, density, new future. Out of this Christmas season, a new kind of year will be born. Out of this holy instant, a new world will be born. Even though the infant within us will be small and vulnerable, he will carry within himself all power, all the miracles that we one day will perform. While he is being readied for his mighty task, the angels will nurse him and nourish him, as they always are. They will spread their wings over him and protect him. he will literally be surrounded by divine protection. Your newborn purpose is nursed by angels, cherished by the Holy Spirit, and protected by God Himself. He will also need the protection of our exchanging ego-based thinking for holy thinking. Yet, even in his tiny state, his holiness will protect us. He will be our teacher, teaching us his language, which is our true native tongue, and giving us eyes to see with new vision, spiritual vision, pineal gland vision, 5D vision. We must follow him, for he is our salvation. Our task is to make his home our home, to fully identify with the holy place in us where he lives. It's always from externalization to back to here. Everything is always not the baby Jesus, right here, in us, in us, in us. And as he slowly grows up, so this is us now growing up, he will eventually be ready to go out into the world and begin his ministry. He will then reach out through us, performing miracles through our hands. Oh boy. He will lead us, not to the cross, but to the resurrection and the life, eternal life. And as he does, he will complete the mighty task given him and save the world. Because again, the world's coming out from us, projection from our mind, quantum physics reality. We save the world because it's inside of us. Change our mind, go into the light extends outwards. We save the world this way. A new world will dawn, unlike the old world in every way. Every way. Ooh. Ultimately, he will bring about the ending of the world, the dissolution of the 3D matrix. Not in fire and destruction, but in lightness and laughter. Lightness and laughter. I love that. Sheesh. And the conclusion, all of this will be the natural consequence of what began when we made a holy place in us for Christ to be reborn. We took the time to do these meditations, and in your life, create the peace, invite, then he can be born in us. He has a welcoming place to come into. As the Course promises us, what is here begun will grow in life and strength and hope. And it will go until the world is still an instant and forgets all that the dream of sin has made of it. The foundation of the 3D, the lower world, is sin. Feeling that we did something bad, we're in trouble, you were naughty, you said a bad word, you gambled. All of that is part of the fabric of sin and the guilt enmeshed with that. That's what we're graduating out of when we're born to the new light realm, where we're not in trouble. We're always free. That's why we laugh. We laugh because it's like, we're not in trouble. We're innocent, still innocent, still innocent. What a story.
Your words, I think, is just so calming. Everything, the words that you're saying, and wow, it really calmed me down. Like, it did. Look, I'm not like this normally. Like, or maybe because I'm sitting beside you.
It's all of it, all of it.
It's all of it, all of the energy. It's amazing. But yeah, wow.
Yeah, although I did have one of the calls, somebody's really struggling in the Middle East, a woman.
Ooh.
What a harsh life being a female in that dark, dense world. And by the end of the call, she said, this was the highlight of the end of my entire year. This was the best day of my life this year, 2022. Because now she's glowing by the end of our call.
Man.
Yeah. So everything's relative. If you have it bad, other people have it bad too, in different ways. It's all part of the 3D matrix. So not to compare. It's all equally still an illusion, still based in fear, sin, guilt. All of it is a fabrication of our imagination. So opening up to that peace, and we're free. That's the birth of Christ in us. The heart expands.